Have you ever gone out on a date or you met a girl and you've been talking and you think things are going really well, but then all of a sudden she disappears or she completely stops answering your texts and phone calls and you're like, I don't get it, what happened? Well, you've just been ghosted. So let's discuss the top 6 reasons why women ghost guys. Number 1 is you were too needy. A lot of guys have a hard time figuring out what is too much, looking too needy, and what is showing the right amount of attention. So sometimes this leads to guys playing games, trying to be really hard to get or like really kind of like rude in how they talk, and that's not necessarily necessary. So it's okay to be straightforward in the way that you communicate and show your interest. But if you're coming from an energy where you really like this person and you just feel like you really need to impress them and like you really want to impress her and like you don't want to make a fool of yourself, and so you're carrying some fear and nervousness, that's definitely going to show in the energy, and the girl is probably going to pick up on that. Needy energy feels very pulling. It feels like you're taking energy from the person. So instead of feeling like you're a breath of fresh air and bringing ease into her life, it feels like your energy is just adding a few rocks to the backpack she's wearing. No one likes needy energy because it feels like it's pulling and taking away from somebody. People want to feel like you're adding to their life, like the energy is compatible and like you're both benefiting something out of it. If you're coming from a needy energy, from feeling like you don't really deserve this person, or you have to really try to convince them to like you and see your value, then that's going to be felt because people pick up on energy quite easily, more than you might think. Your energy should feel like it's blessing people, like it's giving them value, like it's bringing something new, something exciting to their life, not like you need from them. So if you're dating with a feeling that you need validation and you need people to like you so that you have self-worth, then it's never going to work out. If you're dating after you've already done enough inner work and you feel confident, then that's not going to be an issue. You're going to know that you don't need this person's approval, and the odds are going to be a lot more in your favor that whoever you're going out with is going to like you. Number 2 is you were cheap or lacked basic etiquette. I know it's kind of confusing these days with thinking about who should pay for a meal and what sort of is the guy's role and whatnot with all the feminism and things going on. But I have to say, from most women that I know, even if they're empowered women, they still really like and appreciate chivalry and the feeling that the male is still this masculine provider personality. So if you do things like asking to split the bill or just basic etiquette mistakes, like not opening the door, not like pulling out a chair, just showing that kind of care, then a woman who has high value will take notice of that, and she'll be thinking that if that's how it is in the beginning when you're trying to impress her, then it's only going to get worse down the line. So women definitely like and appreciate that feeling of chivalry and a guy going out of his way to make her feel good. Number 3 is you are not interesting and you didn't have game. So when you're out with a girl or when you're texting, what sort of things are you talking about? Are you bringing up really boring subjects, talking only about yourself and being too detailed, talking about your whole life story? Sometimes when we get nervous, we just talk, and instead of speaking mindfully and talking about things that actually are interesting or intriguing and create chemistry, it's just can be empty chatter, and that can really bore a person or make them feel like you're not right for them. The subjects and things that you talk about make a big difference. If you're talking about how much you love your dog and you think that because you really love your dog and it's so amazing to you that's going to interest another person, then that's sort of a lack of self-awareness of other people. So the best conversationalists and people that know how to connect, they know how to speak to what the other person is interested in, what they find appealing. So you have to get out of your own ego and your own head and find what the other person likes, what her personality is like, and what would be appealing for her to talk about. Number 4 is simply the energy was mismatched. Sometimes you might not have done anything wrong at all, and it's simply just a lack of chemistry. I've met guys who were very handsome, sweet, successful, had everything going for them, but there was just no polarity and magnetism to make them attractive to me. And it's not always what's on the surface and like how it looks on paper. There's sometimes just this silent energy that attracts you to people, and if that's not there, then that person might just disappear because there's no alchemy, there's no spark, and there's nothing really you can do about that. Number 5 is you were too aggressive. Some guys get very touchy-feely. They talk about, in pickup artistry, talk about kino and like trying to touch girls' backs and da-da-da. But some guys go a little bit overboard with this, and if a girl feels like you're not respecting her boundaries and you're just too touchy, it can really put her off in the wrong way. You should be very aware with how the energy feels and whether she feels comfortable and she's like actually into you and doesn't mind, you know, certain touching. But in general, you shouldn't be too pushy with putting your hands on her back and on her legs and thighs unless there's an open invitation or the energy is like inviting you to do so. I would say generally if it's your first time meeting someone, there should be little to no contact with touching. It ties into the idea of neediness. You come off as a lot more confident and in control of yourself if you're not super needing to put your hands on somebody. Other ways you can be too aggressive is being really pushy about having her come over to your place, or just being really pushy if she says no about something and you're just like pushing like a salesman. That can also be a turnoff. One of the number 1 traits that helps guys be good at seduction is patience. Seduction is very much about patience, and patience implies that you're not desperate. Patience gives you time to strategize. Patience is an attribute of sophistication. It just shows that you're not a desperate young boy, but a mature man, and that you don't need anything. You're just flowing with the energy, and when you just flow, it unfolds naturally. Reason number 6 why someone might ghost you is she has another guy interest that she decided to pay more attention to. Girls, just like guys, sometimes date several people at once. If you guys have been talking and then suddenly she kind of seems to not be very responsive, it could be because there's someone else who has her attention and that she's more interested in at that time. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's game over, but it could mean that you need to find other ways to get her attention, or that you should also be dating other people and see if it comes back around again later. I love talking about seduction and dating, relationships, intimacy, almost as much as I love talking about Tantra. Since Tantra has a lot to do with the masculine and the feminine polarities and relating, I feel that dating and knowing how to relate between masculine and feminine is an aspect of Tantra in our lives. Let me know if you guys have any interesting stories of being ghosted and what was the reason you found out that you were. Let me know if you like these seduction videos. I love talking about these topics. I love exploring the dynamics of male-female relations. It's not exactly Tantra, but there is a masculine feminine polarity in dating and relationships and intimacy, so I feel that being on the tantric path, you can learn a lot about the energy and the dynamics that helps you relate to other people. Definitely when you practice Tantra yoga, you learn about the energetic dynamics, about how to implement the patience and the things that I talk about that allow the energy to build and how to flow naturally. It becomes a lot more of an ease and an enjoyment rather than a stressful task or competition. If you guys have any other questions about seduction, dating, let me know in the comments. I will still be making other videos as well, magic and tantra and occult topics. It's very hard for me to just stay boxed into one category, so hopefully you guys appreciate all the cross-referencing the different topics that I talk about. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Comment your thoughts below. See you in the next one.